Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the rapid reaction of Clash of Champions 2020. What in what a this was really probably a 2-match show, maybe 3-match show, depending on how you feel about it. But man, this was incredible. I think this was, the opening match was good. The main event was fabulous, and we'll get to that all in due time. But they started off telling us that the women's tag match on the kickoff show, the women's tag match between Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler taking on the Riot Squad, was canceled, as well as the Bayley Nikki Cross match, as Nikki Cross, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler all were unable to compete. They were not medically cleared. Now, that may mean that they have COVID. That may mean that they were maybe somewhere close to somebody who has COVID, and they are just taking the advantages. We do not know. We do not want to spread it out. Spread the information out for whatever reason. We have no idea why. They did say that they will figure out what will happen with the women's tag team titles tomorrow night on Raw. So we'll find that out. And also Bayley was going to possibly have a match. And when we get to that, we'll see if he had a match. So they turned some things around. The kickoff match was supposed to be Asuka and Zelina Vega. Instead, they decided to put the SmackDown tag titles on the kickoff show, and it was Lucha House Party versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. And we had Lindsay Dorado and Kalisto working for them. And again, these guys, they did some great stuff. I love the Lucha way in both guys, Shinsuke and Cesaro, to like work the Lucha way with them. There are some guys who don't work the way with the Lucha, so you don't see a lot of Lucha. The only thing that the big guys can do are the Hurricane Ranas and things like that. They can't do like on the other flips and things like that that is needed when you're wrestling a Lucha wrestler. But I think they did some really good stuff. I think they did some total madness, and I think they really did some very good work here. I gave it 3 stars. We had the winner being Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro retaining the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So that was that. And then we start off the main show with by the way, it was probably about a 35-minute, 40-minute around that, because when you started up, it was 7 o'clock when it was about 7:05 or something like that. And the match ended, it was 7:40. So it was 35 minutes. And the reason why they got 35 minutes, obviously, was because they had to take away from the women's match. But when you have people like Hardy, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles, you can give them 35 minutes, especially when it's in a ladder match, and they can do some really good stuff. So that's what this was. It was really, really good. I think it was obviously, you can obviously tell that they were told late in advance that they had some time. So I think there were some spots that they were making up on their own, kind of like the Jeff Hardy spot where he was climbing over the ladder for some reason, and AJ just flips it over and he goes tumbling to the outside. That was probably one of them. But honestly, probably the best spot is Sami Zayn has handcuffs, and he puts the handcuffs to Jeff Hardy's ear, and he handcuffs him to the miniature ladder. So then when Jeff Hardy gets up, he's carrying the miniature ladder, and it's freaking incredible. He has other keys, and he's going to handcuff AJ to something, but then AJ stops him. Then he handcuffs himself to AJ, and then while him and AJ are on the ladder, he has a key in his mouth. He gets the key out, unhooks himself, hooks AJ to the to the ladder, and he climbs up that ladder while Jeff Hardy's trying to get into the ladder with the and Sami Zayn wins, pulls down both titles and wins. He is now the Intercontinental Champion. I'm very shocked. I picked Jeff Hardy, and we'll get to my predictions at the end as well. And so I picked Jeff Hardy, but I was actually surprised because I would have thought that they would have taken it off Sami Zayn. But they did say, right? They did say that if you were going to stay home during this era, if you wanted to stay home, stay away because of the COVID-19, that you were welcome to do so, and there would be no punishment. So maybe that's what this is. Sami Zayn was the Intercontinental Champion before he left, and now he's going to be the Intercontinental Champion as he's come back. And so maybe that's exactly what that is. So all y'all guys saying that WWE punished Sami Zayn, no, maybe he didn't. Maybe they needed an Intercontinental Champion, and that's what it is. Because look how long Sami Zayn was off. He was off for 6. Him and Roman took off the same amount of time. They were off for 6 months, and they came back basically at the same time. So there you go. The match, I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. Really good opening. Sometimes the ladder match can be it can be that match that is needed to kick off a hot crowd. And as I say that, as I was saying that, I realized there is no crowd. So whatever. Next was the Raw Women's Title match between Zelina Vega and Asuka, and this was actually pretty short. I think it was under 10 minutes, but there was some good stuff here between both gals. I think both gals did their thing. I think Zelina Vega kind of showing that she could really hang with Asuka a little bit, but she just couldn't get the job done. She tapped out to the Asuka lock. 2.5 stars. It's decent. Afterwards, she did an interview promo, and Oscar talked about that, how Zelina Vega was a firecracker, and and that she, and she, gained some respect, and she went to shake her hands and said no. She wanted to bow to her, so she bowed, and then Oscar bowed, as in the traditional Japanese culture. But then Zelina Vega kicked Oscar, and and then ran away, and then Oscar took the mic and rambled in Japanese. So this this feud will continue, and I think that's good. I think that's good. I think now it seems like they are going with now wrestlers Zelina Vega instead of managers Zelina Vega. I think they now need to show more of Zelina Vega. It is very hard because she is one of the smaller girls on the roster. Period. On the entire roster, period. So, you can't do matches with her trying to beat. So I'm not sure how they're going to do this, but I think they could probably find a way. Probably be good to when you're small like that. It probably works if you could have a submission move as your finisher. That way you could you can make anybody tap. No matter how big you are, the wrong joint going the wrong way, you'll tap. So I'd like to see her get a submission move. I think that would even make her feel a little bit more, a little more dangerous, so to speak. But yes, it was fine. Next was the United States Championship match between Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley. And yeah, this was okay. I gave this 2 2 3/4 stars. But you could kind of feel like this was after everything that excuse me, after everything that went down with Retribution. Kind of just feel like this is non-existent really. and yes, they've been doing the thing with Cedric and against Ricochet and Apollo as well from the turn on and so yes, but I kind of feel like that this was not you know this didn't have any steam to it. This didn't really have any. Probably really didn't have any place. The only reason it's on the card is because it's Clash of Champions, and the night where every champion needed to defend their title. So, but again, nothing was wrong with it. Nothing was bad about it. It just didn't steam. Uh, so I gave it 2 3/4 stars. Yeah. I probably lastly one with the full Lashley or the Hurt Lock, whatever it is being called. I don't know. I've heard like 3 or 4 different things about it. Next was the Raw Tag Title match between the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza. And unfortunately, it looks like Angel Garza hurt his leg. He was running with Montez Ford and did something, and he looked like he hurt one of his legs, planted the wrong way. Just not good. Um, and he went down, and there's one of the spots again where once the other guy was injured, they immediately went home. But again, Andrade didn't know that they were going home, and he kicked out, and when he wasn't supposed to, so um, match was you know kind of bumped that way. So the winners were the Street Profits. They retained the tag team champions. Um, and really, and even though I predicted Andrade and Angel Garza to win, really, it really needs to happen now. Where since Bobby Lashley is the United States champion, we now need Cedric and Shelton Benjamin to become the tag team champions. So that the hurt business can have some of the major players with some gold. That's what we need. So I think that would be the way to go. Um, as for my rating, I'm going to be honest with you, as I'm always honest with you. That was also around the time when Big Brother was happening and some things were going on with Big Brother, and I was focused more on what was happening on Big Brother than I was that match. So I didn't give it no rating. Felt it was not fair. It would be unfair to rate that match, but I didn't see a lot of it. In fact, I had to go backwards. I had to fast forward. I had to rewind so that I can see what happened to Andrew Gardner. So that's that. Um, the SmackDown Women's match. Like I said, Bayley came out there. She talked about it, and she, gave a promo, and she asked the person, the referee, to ring the bell and count her as a champion. But what happened was Asuka came down to challenge her for the title, try to get on a double champion. They had a little bit of a fracas, but she didn't completely. It was basically an angle as she took a chair and hit Asuka. She calls a DQ. Asuka wins by disqualification. Um, but Bayley still retains the SmackDown title. And then Banks came out, and Banks decided to attack Bayley, and Banks tried to get some revenge for what she's done to her over the past year, over the past couple of weeks, you know, pilmanizing her neck and everything like that. Some kendo sticks got involved, and she wore out Bayley with some kendo sticks, and chased Bayley off to the end at the end. So um, I still I still am one of you that says there's you penalize her neck. She really shouldn't even be on television. Nevertheless, getting ready to wrestle. So hopefully they still are not going to put her in any matches. In any matches. Sales coming up. I'm hoping they're not going to do that to her. So, but yeah, I think that's is a good angle. Didn't take a lot of time and keep you in the groove with Bayley and her thing for that's hopefully Nikki Cross at some point, wherever it is, whatever's happened, she will get her shots at Bayley and maybe we might see history. Maybe Bailey, maybe Nikki Cross could beat Bailey. Um, then we have the WWE Championship match between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. It's an ambulance match, and the thing about this match seemed to be Randy Orton getting his comeuppance. Right, I was listening to the Wrestle Talk Boys, and they called it the ghost of Randy Orton's past. Coming back to Harlem. First it was the Big Show, coming out and dragging him out in the ring and chokeslamming him through the table. Then we had Christian attacking him backstage. And then at some point Drew and Randy were on top of the scene where Drew did Mufasa. He drew and threw him off of the off of the end of the ambulance. And then Shawn Michaels got up there, super kicked super kick Shawn to get revenge. And then we saw Drew McIntyre, Claymore, Randy Orton, and then he actually punted him himself and put him in the ambulance, and he won. And guess who guess who was driving the ambulance off was Ric Flair. So it was okay. It was kind of short at times, kind of slow at times, but they were trying to tell the story of that, and I understand that. So it was 3.5 stars. That's the whole technical part of it. Here is the bigger picture. So for me, they've done such great work with Randy Orton. Going back to the heel turn in January on Edge, it's been fantastic. He has, he been one of the best in the business. On the mic, in the ring, he's been remotivated. Everything you wanted from Randy Orton. If you had got this Randy Orton, if you got the last 8, 9 months that you've seen of Randy Orton, if you had got Randy Orton for the past 10 years, we would be talking about him as being the greatest of all time. We really would. I think there's no doubt about that. We would be talking about him as the greatest of all time. Having said that, he lost at SummerSlam. He lost at Payback, and he's lost now. 3 pay-per-view losses in a row. Where does that go for Randy Orton? Where does Randy Orton go now? Randy Orton doesn't deserve another shot at the WWE Championship. No, he's lost some ambulance match. Randy Orton now has got his come up. See, this is what should have happened. At WrestleMania with Edge. They should have saved all of this for Edge. The match with Edge, the I Quit match, right? So all these people come back that he kicked in the head and have him come back and help Edge. So finally, Edge can get his comeuppance, and Edge can get the WWE Championship. Now again, that match doesn't need the WWE Championship, but I would have liked to have seen it because Edge, like you seen Edge with the championship, be the champion. However, I guess when you think realistically, Edge is a part timer, right? We've been talking about Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, John Cena, part timers who come in and just do the thing. It's okay, but they shouldn't be champions, right? That's what we say. So maybe you can't have Edge be a champion because he's going to be a part timer. But still, it would have been a nice turn to see. I personally would have said, I personally could have said that you could have, done something else with that, but I don't know. So I don't know where it goes for Randy Orton, but what I hope that does, I hope that Randy Orton now he gets even more devious. He's been embarrassed. He's been beaten. He's been embarrassed. They had the own move put on him, everything like that. So I hope now Randy Orton starts to take it out on other people. I hope that he does. I hope he does start starting new feuds with other people, and I hope he starts to take it out on him. I'm not saying rebuild him, get him back into the main event picture. I think at this point, you know, unless they're gonna put the title on Keith Lee at some point, Randy Orton's next title shot probably, to be honest with you, doesn't happen. Probably doesn't happen. Now, but it probably does happen because he's probably not. He says he wants to wrestle till he's 50. He's 40 now, and maybe even 41. So he's probably gonna get another title shot in the next 9 or 10 years. But it shouldn't happen. I'll say this: it should happen um, for the rest of this year, unless it's a multi-man thing. But they can still do that. So that's that. Now to the coup de grace, the coup de main, the main event. Roman Reigns taking on Jey Uso for the Universal Championship. Everything about this was magnificent. From start to finish. Jey comes out first. He has roses that come out. The Samoan heritage, right? I don't know. I know it's called a lei in Hawaii. I don't know if they have a Samoan name for it, but he comes out and he has that, and he has that around. He's getting all into it, and he's ready. He's ready for his shot. And Roman comes out, and already you see he's shirtless. He's got doesn't have no vest, doesn't have no t-shirt, and a tank top type thing on. He has nothing. He's shirtless, and he's in great shape. Listen, that those 6 months he took off, he does well. He just wasn't sitting on his ass eating bonbons or anything like that. He was getting jacked because he knew when he come back. He knew what he wanted to do when he come back, and he was getting jacked. And so he has his shirt on, and he's the bottom is still pants. It kind of look like dress pants too. Like he's wearing dress pants as his wrestling outfit. It seemed kind of weird to me. So, but yeah, he was, but he looked good, my brother. He looked fantastic, and he walked down there, and from the start he was talking a lot of stuff. About he needs you to just take this payday, get this out, we're gonna move on. Who's gonna feed me? I gotta feed the family. I gotta be at the head of the table. And it was just so good. There was, you know, this past week on the drive-through. On Jim Cornette's Drive Through, his podcast. They did a watch along where they watched the match between The Rock and Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 18. Right, WrestleMania 18 in Toronto. This match it's famous. It's probably one of a handful of matches that is not based on really what goes on in the ring from a wrestling standpoint, from a move standpoint, but it's from the storytelling and the psychology of it, right? And the storytelling, and they and him and Brian Last on the draft through his co-host, they were watching that because Dave Meltzer, who is really becoming one of the biggest jokes in the wrestling industry. He really is. He originally rated that match at three stars, right? It's a 3-star match. Okay, yeah, from a technical standpoint, yeah, maybe it's a 3-star match, right? But he he gave the Young Bucks and the Jurassic Express on a on a television tag match on the on the TV show on Dynamite. He gave it like 4.25 or 4.5 stars, maybe even 4 and 3. I don't think it was 4 or 5 stars, but he gave it 4+ stars, right? And it really just kind of shows you like the stupid stuff that it is, because no one can say you watch that shit that is that is on AEW, and then you watch this Hogan and Rock match, and you're gonna sit up here and tell me that shit on AEW was better than the stuff you saw between Rock and Hogan. So that's why they were watching along, and I watched along with them, and the match is still it still holds up. Yes, I mean it's they are they are very generous with some of the things they're doing. Hogan was in his 50s, you know, his back was killing him, and so he wasn't taking major bumps. And The Rock could, tell a story, but he didn't do a lot of wrestling moves either in various occasions. Um, but he's really good, and his charisma could, you know, that's why he's the biggest star in Hollywood. This charisma just obliterates from the screen and everything like that. I used the word wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. And so they went there, and they really just that is a 5-star match. Yes, there are no German suplexes, there are no dives from the top rope, there are no dives through the ropes, there are no super there are no like submission counters into some other submissions or anything like that. There's a couple of near falls, not 20 or 40 of them. But like that, there aren't 20 or 40 finisher kickouts. Like that. It's 1 or 2, but it's fun, it's fantastic, and it's a great story told by two of the all-time greats to ever done it. And the reason why I bring that up is because that's what this was. Yeah, there was there was one close false finish. Jey Uso had a dive, had 2 dives onto Roman Reigns, but there wasn't a lot of other things. Again, not a lot of German suplexes or submission reversals or anything like that. The story that was told was incredible. The character work by Roman, fantastic. Jay was almost even better than Roman. I mean, and then at the end with Jimmy, John up and down, almost in tears, wanting to throw in the towel to save his brother, right? Oh, tear your heartstrings out. But it was fantastic. It was fabulous. It was 5 stars. It was incredible. It was what was needed. Put Roman over as an even better ass than he has looked, and he's going to be an even better ass than before. I don't know what they have next in store for Roman, but this is just this was perfection. This was perfect done. Man, enjoyed the hell out of that. I really did. And overall, I think this was a really good. This was a good show. This was a good show. You know, again, we had the main event. It's must watch. You have to watch that. You have to watch that main event. The beginning of the match, the ladder match, the IC title was really good as well. The championship match between the Emblems match was very good as well. And there was nothing on the show that was really putrid. So yeah, so it was Really, really good. If you have not watched it, yes, go watch it. I would say go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch it. Um, that being, but yeah. So, wow, it's still, it's almost an hour later, and it gets me. So, really, really fun stuff that they did with Roman. It's amazing. It kind of shows you like the stuff we thought he could do as a heel, right? The stuff we thought we could do as a heel, and it's, since I don't know why he just, he had several times to turn. He could have, and I didn't even deem it a three strikes and out. At one point, I said, well, "There's no reason this turning Roman Reigns heel now would just be ridiculous." Especially after the whole cancer announcement and things like that. Turning Roman Reigns heel would be foolish. Because now he's gonna come back from cancer and he's the perfect baby face, right? So he's the perfect baby face. The majority of people are cheering him now. The people who have any morals about themselves, booing a cancer patient. But I'm like, okay, he doesn't even here nor there, right? But I think they had three good times. They had the time after WrestleMania, right? After the Brock Lesnar match in Santa Clara, and when the Heist of the Century happened, they had the time shortly after um, Seth Rollins actually got hurt later that year. They could have turned him, they could have turned him then, and had it when the Dean Ambrose, in that situation, when the final match of the tournament was Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, they could have turned him down. Instead, they kept him here and decided to have Sheamus cash in on him. And of course, I think the one we all think is probably maybe the biggest one. The biggest flub was they could have turned him after after the Undertaker match when that Monday after Raw when he was, the crowd wouldn't let him speak. When he stood up there for 15 minutes and couldn't speak, said, said 4 or 5 words. This is my yard now. Dropped the mic and walked off. They missed their chance as well. So, but now that they decided to do it, and he's in 4 short weeks has become the best thing in the wrestling business. Yeah, that's no hyperbole. He is the best thing in the wrestling business today. So, yeah, that is it for my review of Cash Clash of Champions 2020. Put your comments down below. Tell me what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys thought of this show. Did you guys like it? Did you guys love it? And of course, let me know what you guys thought about that main event. I put on Twitter because I was looking through the WWE Clash hashtag, and I saw a lot of people calling it boring. It was boring, and Roman was boring. And I'll say this. I'll put it on Twitter. I'll say this right now. If you saw that anything about that main event was boring, you don't like wrestling. Point blank, period, end of discussion. You don't like wrestling. So, make sure you go to patreon.com/AJTRIP to become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, I'm going to be opening it up, and then you guys can vote on what you want to see me play over on my Twitch channel, twitch.com/HATRIP20. Over what you guys would like to hear me talk about on my podcast. It's all on many of the places. Look in the description box. You can find all the places you can find my podcast. And of course, what videos you want to see me do here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.